What kind of camera should I buy? I'm sick of y'all asking me this f***ing question, so we're gonna answer it once and for all. Let's go. So to give you guys a little bit of perspective, I own and operate a social media agency. So we use our cameras a lot and we use different cameras for different things. So I want to talk about the cameras that we actually use and why we use them for each situation and what I recommend you use. Please stick around to the end because I'm going to show you some different cameras that you can buy. And I'm also going to tell you what actually matters when it comes to making content. And it might not be what you want to hear, but you need to hear it. So you need to watch this whole video. I'm being so serious. I really am. I just laughed, but I'm being so serious. Guys, number one, the camera that I am filming on right now, the Sony A7S III. This thing is, I think, like $3,500, something like that. I don't know. I'm not even gonna look it up, but it's a great camera. Does a lot of things, has amazing dynamic range, which means that if you're filming out in the midday sun, like we actually do a lot, unfortunately. I say unfortunately because it's just not good shooting conditions. We love all our clients that we film at midday. Dynamic range essentially just means that it's capturing as much information as possible between the shadows and the highlights to give you more latitude in post so that you don't have to expose for the highlights and then have the shadows just be complete darkness. Dynamic range is a good thing. This camera is awesome. The type of stuff that we film on this camera are YouTube videos, brand videos, and all kinds of other stuff. If we want it to look amazing and we need to rig things to the camera, this is the camera we use. I've got a cage on this camera, which means that I can attach other stuff to it, like a top handle and a monitor and a microphone, things of that nature. So these are great options to have. You can do this with most camera bodies. You can just buy a cage and attach stuff to it if that's what you need to do. So definitely recommend the Sony A7S III if you have the budget for it and you've used other cameras before. This is considered a prosumer camera. So it's not a beginner camera. It's obviously not a cinema camera, but it's somewhere in the middle. Got a lot of great features, 4K, 120 frames per second, 10-bit footage, all that kind of stuff. So it's a great camera. When should you buy an A7S III? If you've already been shooting video, if you know what you're doing shooting video, if you know how to shoot and log and edit it, if you know how to get the correct exposure, if you need to build out a camera rig, this is a great camera to do that with. But if you're just beginning, I wouldn't recommend it. Like honestly, I would not recommend it even if you have the budget for it. Why? Well, I'll tell you in a minute. Let's talk about some other cameras. We're just waiting for the train. Okay, the next camera that I use a lot is the Sony A7 III, not to be confused with the A7S III. This is a lower model. This is still considered a prosumer camera when I bought it new a few years ago. I think it was $1,800, but you could probably get one used for around $1,000 just for the camera body right now. Just like the A7S III, I can throw a cage on it, I can rig it up, I've done it before. We actually also shot a short film a couple years ago. Wow, was that a couple years ago? We shot a short film on the A7 III that is called The Session, and as you can see by the images on the screen, this looks really good. So there are a lot of reasons why this film looks the way it does, and none of them have anything to do with the camera that we used. Number one, the first and most important thing is the lighting. We had a professional gaffer on set doing the lighting. Lighting is going to be the most important thing. You can make anything look good with good lighting. You can make a potato look good with good lighting. Speaking of lighting, I wanted to show you how big of a difference lighting is making. So right now, this light that you see on the side of my face right here, this is actually just coming from the window. I would usually use a hair light or a kick light or whatever you want to call it, but the window is right there providing me a beautiful kick light. I've adjusted my room to accommodate for this, but I'm going to turn off this key light right here so that you can see what kind of difference lighting actually makes. Yeah, that's what it looks like without a light. If you want to buy something, dude, honestly, if you want to buy something, just go buy a light. Because look at this. I mean, I've still got a little bit coming from this window right here, which is the motivation for my key light, by the way. Lighting motivation, that's a whole nother video. Again, I'm still filming on a $3,500 camera, and now it looks like ass because I turned one light off. Anyways, let's keep going. Number 2, good composition. We were very intentional about how we set up the frames in order to create tension and create suspense and all that other kind of stuff that we were looking to do because this film is a drama. So lighting, composition, both more important than the camera. And the third thing is the glass, the lenses that we used. We actually rented cinema lenses for this film. So we were using Sigma Cine something or another, I don't know, but these lenses were worth more than the cameras that we were shooting them on, and for good reason. I mean, you can see how great this looks. Yes, we made a short film using two A7 IIIs, which are both very cheap cameras. They do shoot 4K, which is awesome. They only have 8-bit color, and it can go up to 120 frames, but that's only at 1080p. We obviously didn't use that in this case. How I use this camera day to day is photography. I take a lot of pictures with this camera. This is my main picture camera. I also shoot some video stuff with it. Why do I choose to shoot video on the A7 III when I have an A7S III? Well, the answer is really simple. I've got my A7S III all rigged up. So if I am shooting short form content where I have to have the camera vertical, the A7S III that I have rigged up is not very ergonomic for that use case. It's a little bit cumbersome, honestly. So having the A7 III without a cage on it makes it a lot more lightweight. I can throw it around, we can do fun whip transitions, and it can be a little bit more comfortable. We have clients that we shoot specifically short form videos for in the vertical format, and it's got great dynamic range, so I can still shoot midday. We're also using Sigma 24-70. That's what I'm shooting this on right now. It's actually my main lens that I use between both cameras. I've also got a 70-200 lens that I use and a 15mm lens for some more specialty stuff. So again, lighting and lenses are going to be more important than your camera. But if you want to have a mirrorless or DSLR camera, I think the A7 III is a great starter option, but I'm not going to recommend it to you just yet because we have some other stuff to talk about. By the way, if you are watching this video and you're looking to buy a camera because you want to make content for your business, you need to hit me up. You need to go to the description and click on our website because that is what we do. We make content for businesses. We're really good at getting people to watch your videos. I know you want your brand to look good, but your brand can look amazing and you can have nobody watch your videos. What's really more important? Let me help you. Go to my website, hit me up. I'm fired up today, dude. Let's get back to the video. The next camera that I use a lot more than I thought I was gonna use, is the Insta360 X4. I originally started with a GoPro Max as a 360 camera, and I broke it. So I ended up getting an Insta360 X4, and then I ended up getting another Insta360 X4 so we can have two of them, because I actually use it quite a bit. We do fun things like speed tours. I can put it on a stick and my clients can walk around with it and talk about stuff, and we can see both them and what they're seeing. So this is really great just to keep things nice and simple. Now, when you're exporting this for a 16:9, is it gonna be a little grainy? Is it gonna look kind of like a cell phone? Yes, it does shoot in 8K, but that 8K is for the entire 360. Whereas typically when we're shooting in 4K on a camera like the one I'm shooting on now, the 4K is for just the 16:9 that you're seeing. So if you think about it, the 8K, when you squeeze it down to 16:9, you're not getting 4K, you're not even really getting close, okay? So I love this camera. I think it's a great camera. I love having it in the arsenal. There's so many unique things you can get with it. I can rig it to the camera that you're looking at right now and get some really cool point of view shots, like what the camera sees and all that fun stuff, right? So I think a cheap 360 camera like the Insta X4, which is around $500. I know that's not necessarily cheap, but I think it's a great camera for the money. It's very versatile. You can do so many different things with this, but it's specialized. Again, would I recommend this for a first camera? Absolutely not, because while having 360 is cool, most of the stuff y'all are shooting probably doesn't need it. So if you're looking to just get started making content, I have a better recommendation for you. And that recommendation is your phone. If you're going less than $1,000 for a camera, don't buy a camera. Like, honestly, don't buy a camera. Just use your phone. I know you're watching this on an iPhone right now, okay? Pick up your phone and make stuff. If you're making content for YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever the case is, yes, having a nice crispy camera is good. But if you buy a camera and you don't know how to use it, it's still gonna look bad. With these cameras, you gotta know how to dial in your settings. And honestly, I'm not even gonna do a video on that because so many of them already exist. Buying a nice camera is not going to solve your problems. It's not going to make your content any better. If you're boring, if you're not engaging, if you don't know how to tell stories, if you don't know how to get people's attention, it's not gonna do anything for you. Earlier, I was talking about lighting and composition and all this stuff. None of that actually matters if you're making content for social media. If you're doing a podcast, if you're doing Instagram, if you're doing YouTube, none of that matters. What the algorithm wants is for people to click your video and watch the whole video. I can think of so many countless creators that make stuff on their phones, on dookie little cameras. We're not on TV, you're not making a movie. What it's about, and honestly, even if you're making short films, if you're just getting started and trying to make short films, what matters is your story. Content is king. When they say content is king, that doesn't mean make your content look good and just throw it up on the internet. What it means is that your content needs to be engaging. You need to be a good storyteller. So these are the things that I want you to focus on. You need to get people to click your video if it's on YouTube, and you need to get them to watch the whole thing. You can do that on a phone. You can do that on a 360 camera. You can do that on a potato, dude. Like, this is what you need to be focused on. And if you get really good at that and you start making some money, then go buy a camera. Spend $1,500, spend $2,000, get a prosumer camera like an A7 III and a nice little lens, maybe an ND filter if you're gonna be shooting outside, but just don't do it until you're at that point where you can actually afford something that's worth buying. Because honestly, anything less than $1,000, dude, it's not worth it. It's not worth buying. Don't waste your money. My biggest takeaway for you from this video, buying an expensive camera is not going to solve any of your problems. Get out there, do the work, figure out how to make engaging content, figure out how to be a good storyteller, and then get back to me. Or just hire us and we'll do it for you. Link in the description. Oh, also go watch this other video over here. Go do it. Click on it.